Morning, everybody. 8:25 a.m. March 21st. Markets got quite a little boost here. Financials recovering. FOMC tomorrow, of course. Let's look at the watch list. 10-year yield, very interesting, up 2.7%. The Russell, remember all the regional banks, up 1.54%. Crude's up 1.49%. A lot of calmness coming over from what happened with the Credit Suisse Bank, UBS buyout. So I guess the market's telling us that's okay with it for right now. The Dow up zero point 0.9, ES up 0.86. Bitcoin is pretty much flat but up 0.72. Nasdaq up 0.64. Notice Nasdaq is not as up as much, right? Because it doesn't have financial sector in the index. Dollar is pretty much flat but down slightly. Silver down, gold down. Bonds are being sold, hence TNX being higher. The VIX, check that out, down 5.67%, down to 22. That would be expected with the move higher. All right. What do we have in our stocks that we look at, right? Meta got an upgrade, up 2.55%. Tesla, I just saw, is going to have a record quarter one sales in China. It's up 2.07%. Obviously, Goldman Sachs financials up 1.61. Nvidia is going to have they're going to discuss their new artificial intelligent chips and technologies at a company's annual conference for software developers. Okay, that is definitely well overextended, but stocks can go up for way longer than you think they can. Anybody who's been trading for a little bit knows that's the truth, right? Bob is up 1%. All right, let's go down to is there a laggard? Apple's Apple's like flat. Coin is the only down slightly, 0.45. Okay. No surprise, the top sectors: Morgan Stanley, JPM, their financials. So no surprise here either with Exxon up 1.38%, CAT Industrials up 1.31, Chevron. And then is there any laggard? Not really, right? Sectors, just to give the whole picture: financials up 1.89%, energy up 1.65, industrials up 1. Okay, no lagging sector currently. No lagging sector. Okay. Um, is there any additional news that's important, really? Because tomorrow's FOMC. Let's see here. I'm just looking at certain things. There's some Supreme Court, Coinbase arbitration. Um, Google suspends the Play version of PDD Holdings Pinduo app. Let's see. Anything else to note? Only thing, what else I saw is Foot Locker gets an upgrade after the company reported strong fourth quarter results. CGen got their target price raised to 229 from 145. And following the company announcement of being acquired by Pfizer. And then at 5 o'clock today, there's a Nike quarter three earnings conference call. But obviously, the big day is tomorrow. We have, I believe, we have existing home sales today. Yeah, at 10 a.m. Existing home sales and Fed Chair Yellen. I don't know what they're calling her Fed Chair. She's the Treasury Secretary. So Yellen's speaking at 10 a.m. Existing home sales at 10 a.m. So, if you're in a trade, be mindful of that. Okay. Let's just get into the charts. Give me one sec while I bring that up, okay? Look at our good friend the SPY. So yesterday, as expected, we were range bound, right? Kind of have two range bound candles inside this big green candle, right? So yesterday was as I expected. I expected to be in range. We really just, like I said, the difference is we close on the more to the lows here. We close more towards the highs yesterday. Okay, we kind of let's see here. We kind of closed above the 200-day moving average. So area to watch. We're at 396 right now. We're about right here. Right? Remember, this area to watch really is the 50% retracement from this down move. 50% is at these anchor VWAPs. Okay? 399.48. So that's a key level. So figure 399.48 to 400. That is a key area right there. Do we get there today? I don't know. But what I have to say is, you'll see it in the futures, is that we're coming up to monster level that I don't see us cutting through at all, especially with the looming news. Okay, make this move up now, but we'll look into that with the market profile and buying profile. Let's go with the Qs. Let's go with some the VWAPs for this to see the anchor VWAPs for this to see what the Qs are doing here. All right, so we cleared the anchor VWAPs in the Qs. Okay. Qs are just strong, right? But they're definitely, like I said, a lot of stocks are overextended. Doesn't mean they can't go higher, but as far as like a swing long, I wouldn't be a fan of. Day trading is different. Okay, so yeah, still have this key level up here, 308. It's a big resistance, 308, 309. Call it 309 because I think that's 308.99. So 309 basically in the Qs. Keep an eye on that level. Okay, actually let me put an alert on that guy. All right, let's get rid of these VWAPs. All right, let's look at that Dow. All right, so the Dow, we have this resistance of 323, right? That it keeps acting as resistance. Now, where are we at now? 324, around 325. We are past this. We're past right now, pre-market, past the 200-day moving average. We're about like right at the top of this candle. So the Dow's next level is 326. So I'm going to put a little alert here at 326. 326 this also happens to be 38.2% retracement on the fib. Also happens to be a heavy level, right? Support here, support here. Also got a 20-day simple moving average here, so keep an eye on that. Now the Russell's been very weak because of the regional banks. Okay, got a fib right down to this level, big level of support here. All right, it held. Right, where are we at now? 176. We are below this major level, so we're right here. That's a very pivotal level. Okay, right at the 23.6 point Fibonacci. Now you can see a 23.6 Fibonacci pullback is good for the bears. That's not a deep pullback, that's a shallow pullback. Okay, all right, let's look at our triple headed. Let's 10-year yield getting a little pop today. 200-day moving average. Right, it's hitting the 200-day moving average. All right, keep an eye on that. We have support here, 3.4, 3.39. So 3.4 will have support. Very crucial about the FOMC. It's kind of in a range, right? Let's look at that VIX. VIX is taking a big haircut today. We are at 22, right at this support level. So I'm going to set an alert here as well. there's two prices there. We're gonna have this doubled up. Yep. All right. Let's cross below there. Let's say that's support. So we move below this to 22, we can get a shoot up. But like I said, I'm not a fan of being long right now, unless there's a nice pullback. But that's the VIX. We'll leave it off with the dollar, which has just been in a range as well. That's actually in a little bit of a downtrend. Okay, hitting this support here around 102, 103. So we should see the euro getting bid up a little bit here. Let's see. Yep, look at the euro making a little move. Broke out of this resistance here. Okay, so just like you know, and every time you've seen the dollar go down, the euro definitely is going to be going up. Now, that's that, right? The one thing I also noticed was in the Qs, I believe, just to stay here for a sec, in the weeklies, I don't know why I didn't notice this, maybe because it didn't stand out as much to me. But look at the 200-day moving average on the weekly. Support here, and it was supportive again. So very interesting. SPY, let's see if that had any. The SPY hit it here, support, but it never hit it again. Just to see that, that's all. Excuse me. Let's get over to that volume profile, market profile. We can mark out our levels here for today. You know, I'm not expecting much. You could even see, let's do a little check of let's do a little check here of the volume, pre-market volume. Probably a tale of two different stories here. Let's go to the relative volume here. Alright, you want to be that way? Is it up there now? Yeah. Alright, so this is a relative volume. So we got 71.2% of the current volume right now. We're at 79%. In crude, you can see the difference in crude, right? 112%. So this tells me already indexes are waiting for the FOMC, right? As soon as I see this not over 100 or close to it, you know, volume is not there. Okay, again, once the market opens, I also look at, you know, I switch the tab to the market hours and look at that. But you can see crude is definitely at a higher volume right now relative. I think I have it for 20 days, and it goes by each. I think these are 5-minute bars. That gives me that relative volume. Okay, let's go back to the market profile. You know, my buddy, my friend. All right, and let's see where we're at, right? All right, let's make this nice and bigger. Okay, so gapping up, pretty large gap. Okay, large gaps are very, very, very hard to read, and you did hear me just slurp my coffee. Sorry about that, but what do we got? Right, let's look at this. We have, just to make this clear, the most traded. Now look up here. Okay, this right here is the most traded price of the month and of the rolling year. This is what, and we have the 100-day moving average right here on the futures. We just broke the 20 and the 100. Let's make this thinner. Okay, so again, monster level in the ES. That level, 40.26. Okay, Most traded price of a year from a year ago today. Most traded price of the month, okay? Also have 100-day moving average. We just tapped it. Also, there's been single prints from the last big move down. Okay, you can see this white box. They don't count as being cleaned in the overnight pre-market, okay? So let's look what we have, right? I am not interested at long up here. Also a supply zone above as well. Not interested in a long up here at all. Okay? That's just overextended for me, for my taste. Alright, so let's look at it. 4020 is our overnight high. And you're going to see, if you watch me, you're going to hopefully, maybe one of you can call it out, what I see right now. I don't know who's watching. It might be nobody. But maybe because you see my videos, what I'm going to probably say. So here's the RTH high, RTH low. Okay, what did we do? Well, most traded price of the week is here, right? So that we're above that. But we're in between the most traded price of the month up here and the most traded price of the week. What do I expect today? I expect ping pong. I expect this. I can see this happen today. That's what's highly probable. The move was made now in the overnight. Okay. Now it's a question of, I don't see much room to the upside here. Not with those levels above us. Okay. What's the first thing I'm going to talk about, right? We're basically 100% net long right now. Market settlement, the close is here. Look at the overnight. It only had a little bit of a move down and then it pushed higher. And where are we at now? We're at the highs. We're at the highs. So this sets up for a nice fade. Okay. And what would make that a nice fade would be, so here's our first trade. Okay. And I really would be surprised if this was taken out. Okay. Because you got a demand zone here. You got the most traded price of the week. You have the overnight low. Okay. But we'll talk about that if it does. So let's go with a fade. Now, this can change. But right now, I have to talk about what I see right now. The volume's building out here. You can see that, right? So there's longs trying to push up higher. Do they know about this price? I don't know. I don't know if they know about this price, right? But I do, and we do. So, perfect scenario for me would be push up. Push up into this monster level. Most traded price of the month, most traded price of the rolling year. Sorry, I just moved my chair. And that is a level that I want to see tested. Okay, what's it going to do? It's going to extend the longs here. So boof. And when they can't get anywhere, okay, that's when you want to come and if you want to do it, you can cross the open. And then you see how thin the volume is here, right? The volume's thin. Maybe we could take those out, right? Because then what's going to happen? Everyone's going to take their profits. Overnight longs are going to have to cover, and we'll probably come back down here to this demand zone slash most traded price of the week. Just because of the way this market is, right? People are going to panic, and like I'm not saying the crash happens because of what's happening tomorrow. I can see this though. This is exuberance. Okay. I would be shocked if we're above this today. Shocked. All right, so that's one trade, and that's a hard trade. All right, that's not an easy one. However, what happens if we do this, right? If we come under here, here's the monthly VWAP. We could play around here a little bit. If we hold and hold, oh boy. If we hold and hold below the most traded price of the week, and then we push down up through yesterday's most traded price, then we could land ourselves back here into this demand zone. I'm not saying this happens. I'm saying that if this happens, this will happen. And then we're right back to square one and wait for FOMC. Okay. Now, if you're a long, if you are on the long side, what's your play today? Right? Well, you don't want to get involved in this fade trade. You wait for the market to come down. And you wait for it to tell you from this demand zone. And if it can't go across this most traded price of the week here, you let it just find support, maybe make a higher low, and then I would say, well, possibly can go work itself back up to the overnight high in the 100-day moving average. But this up here, woo, that is tough sledding. I would be shocked if it works its way through that. Shocked. Okay. So hope that's clear what I'm looking at. All right, let's just look at the profile. It's very balanced. All right, if you want to look at a profile and why even the fade is even the fade off the open, but a push up is nice play, because check this out. Look at the profile. It's basically completed, waiting for FOMC. That's a beautiful bell curve, right? Because look, you have participants running out of steam here. And when you don't build value up here, you return back to value. Now, can we stay up here and hold and hold and hold and hold? Okay, possibly. But in the market right now, we just made a big move, right? If this is you and you're long up here and you have trouble, you're going to take profit. And then if we break under this big volume here that's starting to pump out, they're going to have to cover, right? That's why I think that's a good trade. And this monster level above us, right? So, hope that made it clear. Let's go to that NASDAQ. Let's look at the NASDAQ. Okay. Sorry for the slurp. Let's look at the NASDAQ, right? Not as big as a gap, not at the top of the range. You notice that? Okay, hit a supply zone. Found some sellers there, right? But we have a demand zone here. Okay, so most traded price of the week's right here. What are we at? 126.50 is the most traded price of the week, of the last 5 days. All right. We're gapped up, right? Now, obviously, I always talk about those gap rules. I didn't bring them up in the ES because of how high we're up in the range. Okay. So this is a little more like you got yesterday's high, yesterday's low, right? And yesterday's trade, by the way, worked out great. If I talked about the range bound market, I mean that supply zone was taken out, but it was a nice short. I used Amazon as a proxy. It was a very nice trade. I made a short about it. I posted it on my Twitter. But besides the point, let's look at this, right? Overnight low, overnight high. Again, almost 100% net long, right? But notice NASDAQ doesn't have financials, so it's a little weaker, right? The gap is not as large. It's all going to come down to this. Now, in the NASDAQ, the fade, isn't as beautiful because we're coming down. Okay, you also got a demand here. So in the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ's also been strong, but it's a little weaker today, right? You want to see this. What is it going to do with this gap fill? And, everybody who watches or pays attention to how I look at the gap as market generated information is, okay, what do we do? There's the gap fill. And here's the most bullish outcomes, right? Bullish outcome. We do a gap and go. That's the most bullish, right? Then what if we come down, we don't even fill the gap, and we go up? That's the second most bullish. Third most bullish, fill the gap, come in this demand zone, and we pop out, right? Well, you got the bearish side too, right? What if we fill the gap, right? Break that demand zone, take out the overnight low when we're back into yesterday's range, right? We could do this then. And then if we did this and held, we could do that. Not calling for that, I'm just saying. Anything back into range is like, all right, we're waiting for tomorrow, which more than likely should happen. More than likely, okay? But if you want to be long NASDAQ, right? The best bet really would, well, whatever happens up here, could hit in supply, could sell off. You could just be sitting and saying, hey, I'll wait for a gap fill in this demand zone and see if you get higher low to go back up, target the overnight highs in this supply. And then I think that's it. I don't think you don't go to the moon just because of what tomorrow might bring. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to be. Who knows? I don't have any prediction. I mean, it's saying 25 point basis, right? But I don't even know what the market will do, if it's 0 or it's 25. I don't even know what the market's going to do. You know? So that's what I'm seeing right now. I don't see anything big. The big moves happened. Big move happened. So now you got to say, what do I do with this move? Okay? Now let's get a little pushed out view of what we're looking at here. Check it out. You know I love this chart. Okay? Here it is. Most traded price of the current year, most traded price of the year ago today, and price is right here. That's why I told you it's a monster level. And moves happen from this level, but not initially. You don't just cut through this like the hot knife through butter. That's why I'm very, very shocked if we push through this. Very shocked. Let's see the NASDAQ, okay? Now the NASDAQ, you know, it's a different story, obviously. Here's their monster level. 122.21. We're over it right now. However, we've been building out a lot of value here. You can see. You can see this was last week's most traded price, and it's this week's most traded price, around 126.49, right here. Back-to-back weeks. And we have a double top right there. You guys can see that? Right there. It's last week's high, and right now it just made a high there. So you can see the double top. Now, this level to cut through it will be a little tough, the 126.49. Okay, and then we have what? We have a low volume node here. Got a double bottom here at about 125.32. If we go down, I could possibly see us going down there. Okay. Let's look at our old friend crude, assess what's going on there. Alright, crude also has a beautiful profile. Nice bell curve. That's a completed profile. Now, what is crude? Right at the highs. Very balanced. Opened here, went down, and is up. But we're almost in we tapped the supply and naked VPOC. Okay. Now, when a balanced profile like this, what could happen? We could push up in here. There's a gap here, that blue. And then we can come right back to this demand, or right back to the most traded price. That would make sense because, to go super high without the FOMC knowledge yet, right? So I kind of am looking for see if I can get a push higher in crude to short it back here to value. But when you have a lot of overhead supply here, I mean, you have a lot of resistance up here with the gap, the old gap. So, and a balanced profile. Okay. So that's what I'm kind of looking for here. I mean, let's split it out real quick to see what the actual overnight's rotation was. So now that changes my stance a little bit on more of a fade. So you can see we here came down, it came down again, pushed up. So now everybody's long, okay? And we're up here. We're gapping higher into supply. So I want to see a push up maybe to this gap, top of this range. It maybe try to fade that back to fill the gap, possibly move back into this demand zone plus the most traded price of the week. That's what I'd be looking at. That's the most, I'd say, logical trade. But anything can happen. But I think people are waiting to short this market in crude and in ES and the Nasdaq with the move they just made, being that tomorrow nobody knows what's going to happen. That's just my thoughts. Nobody ever knows what's going to happen, right? You can only work in probabilities. So that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you learned something. Give me a comment, like, or subscribe. I'll be watching crude. That crude opens up in about 2 minutes, so we'll be watching that. Meta's on my radar for a pullback. So is Tesla. Possibly, maybe when the market pulls back into that demand zone, maybe look for a long there just for a day trade. But also look for a weak stock to short. Like right now, there's not too much weakness. So the futures fade would be probably more probable. Okay. But that's about it. I will do a short or update later if there's anything to know. I don't expect too much craziness today because tomorrow's FOMC. Like I said, I expect ping pong action. All right. Well, that's it for me, and I will see you guys, if not later, tomorrow.